Support for this podcast comes from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative, connecting communities with the resources, infrastructure, and networks to ensure a vibrant local free press.
From KVPR in Fresno, this is Central Valley Daily. It's Tuesday, March 3rd. I'm Carrie Klein in for Elizabeth Arkalian. Fresno Unified recently announced it would move forward with layoffs. That could mean eliminating more than 200 jobs.
I would say that this is a continuation of ongoing declining enrollment and average daily attendance.
Coming up, we'll learn more about what's behind this move and what it could mean for the district. But first, these headlines. A chemical leak prompted a shelter-in-place order for part of Los Banos for a few hours on Monday morning. Local police reported an ammonia leak shortly after 7 a.m. near a food production warehouse on Johnson Road. Officials advised nearby residents to shelter in place and for schools to limit outdoor activities. All warnings were lifted by noon. A recent KVPR survey asked residents to weigh the pros of living in Fresno. KVPR's Israel Cardona Hernandez has this report.
Fresno can often be overlooked by people, but Ronald J. Martin says one of the biggest pros is that it's centrally located.
It is nice to be close to the national parks and go there once in a while.
Others say you don't even have to leave Fresno to have fun. April Henry says the Fresno Chaffee Zoo is one example of a
nice, fun outing at a really pretty reasonable price for families to be able to go to.
These thoughts were gathered as a part of a small KVPR survey looking to get a feel for how people in Fresno think about their city. For many, the city's diversity is also one of its greatest strengths.
It's got a great potluck, right? I mean, you can pretty much choose any culture of food on any Friday night and find it somewhere within the city.
We also wanted to know the financial perspective. Half of the survey respondents said it's easy to get by in Fresno, but also said it's definitely gotten tougher over the years. For KVPR News, I am Israel Cardona Hernandez.
A Fresno judge says a law firm representing the city filed a lawsuit that contained fake case citations generated by artificial intelligence. Our newsroom partner Fresnoland reports the filing was submitted in an eminent domain lawsuit. The law firm may be subject to a $10,000 fine. Fresno City Attorney Andrew Jan says the attorney who drafted the lawsuit has been removed from all work for the city. The eminent domain lawsuit is scheduled for trial next week. Despite a snowy February, snowpack in the Sierra Nevada remains below average. That's according to the state's third snow survey of the season at Phillips Station in El Dorado County. The results show snowpack is close to average in the southern Sierra, but only half of average in the northern Sierra. However, the Department of Water Resources reports the state's major reservoirs are currently above average for this time of year. Former California Governor Gray Davis was given a Chancellor's Medal from UC Merced last week. The university said the award recognized Davis's role in bringing the UC campus to the valley. It's the youngest of the UCs. The medal was presented at an intimate ceremony and comes as the university celebrates its 20th anniversary.
KVPR's podcast, Central Valley Daily, is proud to be the Valley's only daily news podcast. And what better way to show your support for local news than to join us at Corks and Brews, KVPR's Beer and Wine Festival. We'll have live music, food trucks, and a silent auction, all along the gorgeous San Joaquin River. The event is Sunday, May 3rd, and tickets are $75. Get yours at kvpr.org. We can't wait to see you there.
And now to our main story. California's third largest school district is once again making some major decisions as it tackles an upcoming budget deficit of nearly $60 million. You may remember Fresno Unified announced in December that it was giving early retirement to over 500 employees. Shortly after that, Superintendent Misty Herr spoke with KVPR about one of the reasons that prompted that decision.
We are in declining enrollment, so we're losing about 1,000 students a year, and we haven't really bounced back when it comes to average daily attendance from COVID.
The district says the early retirements will save them about $56 million. Now, on top of those changes, the Fresno Unified Board of Education last week approved a plan that could trigger layoffs. The specifics of that plan are still up in the air. To talk more about what this all means, I spoke with Diego Vargas. He's an education equity reporter with our news partner Fresnoland. Diego gave me an overview of what was discussed at the board meeting.
So last Friday at their board meeting, the Fresno Unified Board of Education made the decision to start the process of identifying positions, both classified and certificated positions, to see which ones they would be able to eliminate, reduce in hours, or discontinue through vacancies.
So layoffs, essentially.
Yes. And the process began with their vote of approval on Wednesday. And so what that means is that the district now has until March 15th to notify all of its employees that have been identified. Any employee that isn't notified after that March 15th is, essentially considered cut off from being possibly identified for elimination or layoffs. But once that happens, depending on the employee, so as I understand it, classified employees who are identified and notified by March 15th have around, I want to say, maybe at most 2 to 3 weeks to essentially ask for a hearing to explain why they feel they shouldn't be part of the layoffs or reductions. The district has said that they do have positions, alternative positions for these classified employees where, yes, they would be taking a pay cut, but they would be able to retain their benefits. So there would be that reduction in place. But at the same time, the chief financial officer for the district did mention that more than 200 jobs, approximately 200 jobs, will have to be eliminated. That's on top of all of the other reductions that they're doing. That is what he has says they need to eliminate.
Now, you talk about classified versus non-classified. Can you talk for those of us not in education, what do those terms mean? And do we have an idea, what the divisions are for, who these people are that could be laid off?
So classified versus certificated, what I would say is classified positions, you would have your paraprofessionals or your school liaisons, people that communicate between the district to parents. A college degree is not required. Versus certificated employees are your nurses, your school psychologists. There are some preschool teachers that are being considered for layoffs as part of the board's recent decision.
And what about teachers? Where do they fall in that? And of these 200 positions likely on the line, how many of them are teachers versus these other classifications?
So if I remember correctly, for certificated employees, the equivalent of over 80 positions, full-time positions for certificated employees are being affected. And that includes around 19 preschool teachers. At the moment, we're not sure if that's it, though. There is a potential that it could be more, it could be less. But as it stands right now, only preschool teachers are being affected in regards to educators.
Okay, so not K through 12 teachers. At
the moment, no, it's not. At least it's not something that's been explicitly said. The only educators that have been identified for elimination have been preschool teachers.
Now, why don't we know exactly how many people will be affected by all of this?
So it's my understanding that the district has until March 15th to work to see which positions they want to eliminate. And there are a lot of variables in that. And when I say that, I mean these are not the only reductions that the district has said they're looking to make. After the meeting on Wednesday, Patrick Jensen, the chief financial officer, did tell the media that they are looking at other things to possibly reduce. And that includes, travel expenses or different programs within it, maybe more student supports. That it's quite vague, unfortunately. We don't have a complete understanding, and those numbers won't be solidified until March 15th once those notices are sent out.
I see. So the decision last week was really just a signaling that we are going to begin this process of considering these reductions.
Exactly.
Okay. And so what was at the heart of this decision to lay off so many employees? Is the district struggling financially, for instance?
I would say that this is a continuation of ongoing declining enrollment and average daily attendance. And there is a difference in that. Total enrollment for a school or a district, that is how many students are enrolled in that district for the year. But average daily attendance is how many of these students are actually going to the school every day. Let's say you have a school with 100 students in it, but only 92 students went. to that school on that day, well, you have a 92% ADA for that day. And the problem is that for every single student that is absent, the district loses funding, money, essentially, that they get from the state. It's just a continuation of the declining enrollment and average daily attendance that Fresno Unified Schools and the district as a whole is seeing.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, this comes just a few months after another set of reductions where more than 500 district employees received early retirement buyouts. That decision was estimated to save the district $56 million over 5 years. This decision is estimated to save another $58 million. That's over $100 million in total. Is that all because of a drop in enrollment?
I would be remiss to say that it's only because of declining enrollment and declining average daily attendance, but I would say that those are the most often cited reasons by the district. And it's not just exclusive to Fresno Unified as well. LA, USD, the top 5 largest school districts have recently either started the process to identify positions for layoffs or have already approved layoffs. This isn't something that is just exclusive to the biggest school districts either. This is something that is being seen across the state.
So I know that the argument is that these financial troubles have come amid, this declining enrollment that we've been talking about in the district. But what's the risk of a feedback loop here? It sounds like maybe K through 12 teachers are not included in this next round of layoffs, at least as far as we know. But, could there be a risk of a feedback loop that by further cutting staff, that this could impact the quality of education or support for students?
Mm-hmm. It's definitely something that's been brought up by community members and community leaders. When I interviewed Eufemia Sanchez, who is the Fresno chapter president for CCEA, she did tell me if these cuts affect workers and those workers have students, they have their kids in Fresno Unified, and you lay them off, where are they going to go? They're going to go find a job. They need to survive. They need to pay their bills. What if they leave the district? And essentially, what she said was, we're going to be here again next year, because if you cut the folks who are dedicating or who are working for the district, who have spent years with the district, and they need to pick up and leave, and they take their kids with them who are also Fresno Unified students, exactly like what you said, it's essentially a feedback loop, and it is a point of concern. She did say that we're going to be here again next year because if you're driving away your workers, they're also taking their kids with them.
Diego Vargas, education equity reporter with our news partner Fresnoland. Thanks so much. Nice having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You can read Diego's report and more Fresno area reporting at fresnoland.org. If you'd also like to check out our conversation with Superintendent Misty Herr, you can listen to our January 15th episode. And that's today's show. Today's episode was produced by Jonathan Linden and KVPR with support from the Central Valley Journalism Collaborative. I'm Carrie Klein. Find the latest local news anytime at kvpr.org.
This is Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. You'll see your favorite actors, directors, and comedians on late-night TV shows or YouTube. But what you get with Fresh Air is a deep dive. Spend some quality time with people like Billie Eilish, Questlove, Ariana Grande, Stephen Colbert, and so many more. We ask questions you won't hear asked anywhere else. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.